Good morning, good morning. Welcome to a beautiful streaky red silhouetted tree, really. I suppose that's the best way to describe it. It is an absolutely beautiful morning here on Djuma Game Reserve. We've got a beautiful set of clouds, herd of zebra that are sitting underneath the dawn sunrise, and it is the most wonderful way to get started. My name is Tristan, and on camera today I've got Fergus. Fergus, no thumb. Oh no, Fergus. Fergus is giving. So Fergus was badly positioned there to be the thumb. So now the thumb is in. We are sorted with the introductions. Yeah, no punching, Fergus. Now, behave yourself. Otherwise, we'll hit a stump again. Now, this is a live safari, so that means that all of you can help us and decide what we're going to be doing this morning. So I'd love to know from all of you. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or YouTube chat. What do you feel like seeing this morning? What is the sort of list? Yesterday, I felt that kill where Tingana was kind of situated, and I believe yesterday when we sort of finished drive that both Nsuku and Tingana were just looking at each other from 40 meters apart, and neither one was too bothered. Maybe it's because both of them are nursing a little owie on the paws, and that's why they're all both just kind of leaving it the way it is. So we'll go check around for them. I think that's kind of the plan. I mean, Unkahuma Pride, I have no idea where they even are. I think they're in the Manyaleti at the moment. I haven't heard about anything to the west of us, so I would imagine they're still north. You never know, maybe they're around. Jared, who's one of our tech guys, he stays at Inga's in with me on that side, not with me, but you know, in the same area. And he said to me this morning that he woke up and he walked outside and he said that it smelt different today, and that the bush smelt like there was lots of animals around and that there was a big herd of something. This is what he tells me, and then he said he smelt it again at camp. So who knows, maybe a big herd of buffalo is moving around this area, or a big herd of elephants, who knows. But apparently Jared has got a nose for these things, so we're going to test his theory. I suppose these zebra and wildebeest that were on quarantine could be considered a herd. Now, BK, you want to see a martial eagle? Well, that would be quite nice. I would quite enjoy that, actually. I haven't seen a martial eagle for a few weeks now, so I would love to see one. How about a martial eagle coming down and grabbing a steenbok and then going up into the tree? Because that's always an amazing sight to see. Or maybe a martial eagle monitor lizard fight. What do you think, Fergus? What do you want? Because we're not going to get soaring martial eagle just yet. Maybe later in the morning drive, but not just yet. That's for sure. They'll be all down on the ground for now and hunting using the cooler conditions. Maybe, I don't know. It's probably not the situation that they will be hunting, actually, because birds of prey generally rely on thermals. So let's scrap that idea. Maybe we'll get lucky. I don't know. We'll try our very, very best. There is one that hangs around Treehouse Dam, so we'll go and have a little sort of scrounge around and see what we can find. What else will I do? Maybe go past where Tundi was. Let's see how that goes. We'll see if any of the other guides want to go first. We are trying to give everybody an equal opportunity, and so, you know, we can't always go there and be the first ones there, because if she is there, then we tend to spend a bit of time. So we'll let the other guys go in and have a chance. Ooh, Samantha, an African wildcat. Now that's okay. We'll try our very best. Whether or not we're going to get that right, I'm not quite sure, but we will try our very best. It's not an easy animal to find, and in fact, in the entire year I've been at Djuma, I haven't seen one yet. So we're going to try and find one for you. You never know. There used to be one that hung around on the northern side of Chitwa Dam, so on that big open area there. I saw it a few times hunting guinea fowl, so maybe we'll get lucky and we'll find it in that area. You never know, so that's not a bad plan to go and have a look for. Chitwa Dam might be quite pretty actually this morning. Oh, Diana, you say, what about the roaring lions you heard on the dam cam overnight? Diana, to be honest, I didn't hear any roaring lions last night, so I'm actually quite surprised that there are roaring lions on the dam cams. We'll have a look and try and find them. That would be quite nice. I wonder which roaring lions it is. I wonder if maybe isn't one of the Birmingham boys coming back into this area. We'll have to just check around and check our northern boundary potentially for some tracks there and see if there is any sign. But that's an interesting one. Definitely worth looking out. So I believe a lot of you want to see all of the predators in terms of wild dogs, cheetah, leopard, lions, and Eric, you say you want to see faith driving. Did I get that right, Nikki? And I don't know, Nix, I can't hear you very nicely. Can you hear that, Fergus?
I think it's faith driving. I think just close your eyes and just...
Close my eyes and faith.
Take your ear...
Snake drivings. No, I have no idea. Nix.
Close your eyes and let Rusty drive by
No, we've tried that before, Fergus. Fergus says I should let the car drive by myself. Well, just drive by itself like this. But we've tried that, and that's not going to work very well at all. I'm pretty sure that will mount in both Ferg and I being ejected, car being wrecked, and that's going to be the end of that. Now, Nikki, I'm sorry that I can't hear what you're saying. I honestly, it sounds like faith in my ear. I'm completely wrong by the sounds of things, but I don't know what exactly it is. So, Eric, I do apologize. Whatever you want to see, I'll try and do it, even though I don't know what it is. We'll just inadvertently try and... Oh, he's making a funny. Okay, well, you never know. Let's try and see. Maybe we can entertain and have a funny... A safe drive. There we go. Fergus, where's my drum roll? Because we finally got it. The two of us are very slow on the uptake this morning. Yes, it was completely lost by the end of it. Whoopsie. Sorry, Nix. Sorry, Eric. It didn't go very well, that at all. We missed it completely, and by the time we figured it out, it was kind of gone. Oh well, these things happen. Exactly, Chuckles Comedy Store, Fergus. We are Chuckles this morning. We are as funny as they come, don't you think? Probably not, actually. Right, let's just quickly check down here. I want to just check. I don't think Tundi's at this den, but you never know. Maybe she's still where that little bit of meat is and she's just taking it easy. We might as well have a little quick look and see if there is any sign of that carcass. I know some people checked yesterday, they couldn't see anything, but where she deposited the carcass yesterday morning is almost impossible to see her unless she's there. So if she didn't come back yesterday, maybe she's come back during the night to feed off what was left of that scrub hare slash vervet monkey slash unknown animal. And let's see, maybe we get lucky with her down in the drainage here somewhere. Like I said, I don't think this is where the cub is, and that's why I'm coming here, because I'm pretty sure the cub was moved yesterday. Whether or not it got left at the little bridge on Central, I'm not quite sure. I think at the end of the day there was tracks going in that pipe on top of the tracks out. For those of you that missed yesterday, we had Tundi and her little 7 to 8 week old cub right here in front of us where we are now, and she sat with it for a while, and then all of a sudden there was a little carcass that she picked up, and then from there she took the cub and walked it all the way towards Central side and deposited it in the road. And we happened, quite by mistake, to be driving Central and bump into her as she was coming out, and then she took the cub and started bringing it back this way. So I don't know if she's now decided that maybe because we caught her there that she's going to come back here with the cub and use it here, or maybe she was just waiting for us to leave before she took it back again. I believe the tracks though of the cub are going into that little den on top of the ones coming out, so maybe she just took it back a little later and they're using that den now. I'm not quite sure. I know that some of the other guys are probably going to go and check that area just now, but let's quickly have a little look here. The carcass was off to my left hand side, buried deep in the grass. I don't see any sign of a leopard there, but let's just scan around and have a little look. We know that this particular area is easy for one of these leopards just to absolutely disappear, but I don't see her today, so maybe she came back, finished off whatever was there. It wasn't very much. It was a sort of long shot that she would be in this area, but seems as though she's not here, and maybe she came off and finished it last night and has gone back to wherever this den may be. So it was, like I say, just a long shot and just a little check around just to see if maybe, just maybe, we could get lucky and find her here. Anyway, worth checking. Plus it's pretty down here. It's just nice and quiet and in the drainage. It's, you know, it's a very nice place to come and check. Okay, Fergus, Should we meander out? I think so. There's not much going on in this area. There's a few starlings and one or two little franklins, so I think we'll leave them to be where they want to be. There's definitely low leopard though, that's for sure. Right. I wonder if she is going to use that den. It's going to be interesting to see how she's got quite a lot of choices in this area. It's a great area for a den site. There's lots of different places, I would imagine, along these little riverbed systems that she could hide this cub in. So it might not even be where we saw her. It might have moved it a little bit, but it's still interesting that she's using this. Chitty Chatty Meg, I think she moved the cub not because of viewing or just because of normal, because she killed something at the den, and that's not ideal at all, because when anything dies it then starts to produce a smell, and then you start to see things like hyena and lion and other leopards and all kinds of predators that start smelling that there's a carcass around here, and then they come and investigate, and obviously that puts the cub in major risk. So I think she was opportunistic. She caught something, realized that this is probably not ideal, because just before she moved that cub, she picked up that carcass and moved it away from the entrance to the den, called the cub, and immediately then started walking with it. So I think it's more a case that she had a kill here and just didn't want to have a situation where the cub was being put in unnecessary danger, rather move it somewhere else and keeping it safe. It is common to see though as well when they move these dens periodically, or regularly should I say, like what we've been seeing with Thandi. It's not unusual to see this, and certainly is not a surprise that she's moving the den as much as she has already so far. Now I believe somebody is calling me on the radio, so let's just answer that quickly. Yes, go ahead. So I think it's one of the guys that are checking that bridge area that I was alluding to. Okay, copy that, thanks. So I'm just checking the old den now. There's nothing happening this side, so they're just letting me know that there's nothing going on in that area. So we'll just kind of carry on and see what else is around. I wonder if maybe Quarantine came over, so that would be quite nice to know. He was not far from Buffelshoek Dam side. It would be interesting if he's starting to move back into this area too, because I think that would be the first time, as far as I know, that he's been back on Weatella in quite some time. In fact, I would like to know when the last time he was seen on Djuma, or in the area of Djuma, and to see whether or not it's how long it's actually been since he came here. It's interesting that he's forging this way though. Okay, where to next, Fergus? I think Ingwe Alley, and then maybe let's go Treehouse Dam, Twin Dams. That's what I think. Maybe Hosana's around, you never know. What is around though is some beautiful Nyala. So let me stop where we can see them. There we go. Good morning everybody. There's a beautiful young male that is just looking at us. He's about a year old, so you can see he's still the same color as the females. Both of those males are, but the one at the back is starting to change more chocolate color, whereas the one in the front is still very much the color of the females. Once they get to about 3.5, that's when they normally have that deep chocolate coloration kind of well set, and they start to look a lot more like the adult males than the females. Amazing that they go through such a change though as a male. You'd think that, you know, that they would stay a very similar sort of coloration as they grow, but nope, they start to get darker hair, and they get much longer fur as well, and they're able to then look like those shaggy big males. And it's probably due to the fact that they spend a lot more time on their own as a male than what the females do. So the females, even though they're lighter in color, have the ability to use one another to protect themselves, whereas males don't. And so the habitat that they live in, that darker chocolate coloration, just helps for them to blend in the shadows. You can see when they go behind a bush, it is amazing how quickly they disappear. If they sit dead still, it is sometimes incredibly difficult to see them. Oh, breakfast time. Can't walk past a tree without having a little snack. It's very cool. I always enjoy watching these guys, but they are going to probably disappear fairly shortly. Now there's a bird that's making a noise in a tree close by that I'm not 100% sure of its call. It doesn't sound like a normal call, so I just want to have a little look quickly and just see what this bird is. Sitting by the looks of things on this dead tree, Ferg. Somewhere on that dead tree. It almost sounds like on the 2nd of November. I take it last year because, or we talk 2nd of November this year we saw him on Chitwa, but I'm talking about on Djuma itself. So seeing him on Chitwa is one thing, but I wanted to know if we've seen him when the last time we saw him on Djuma itself was, so not Cheetah Plains or Chitwa, when it was last on Djuma itself. But 2nd of November I think is when we saw him on Chitwa. It's when I saw him on Chitwa, is probably the last sighting we had of him. Now the bird that I was looking for I thought was in that dead tree, but it's not there, so I'm trying to scan around. It almost sounds like a variation of a violet-backed starling, but not quite right, so I'm intrigued to know what bird is calling. It's a very faint sound as well. It's not a loud kind of Franklin guinea fowl, that kind of sound. Sounds like they've flown on a little bit as well. There's a golden-tailed woodpecker calling as well in the distance. And a dove and a hornbill, yes. Well done, Fergus. Very good. Now, that particular bird over there, which dove is it, Fergus? Which one? You can't say. And the body shape and the way it's kind of sitting doesn't quite look dove-like. Maybe it is, I don't know. It's a difficult silhouette because it's puffed out. It's still quite cool this morning. Maybe that beak is right. Let's see, turn again. It doesn't look like the beak is long enough for a cuckoo, so dove, you're maybe right, Fergus. And that's not the bird that's calling either. It's further away. I'm not sure about dove. Maybe. Either way, beautiful sky that is silhouetted against, and unfortunately even if I look with binoculars I'm going to get no color from that whatsoever. Nancy, you say you Let's have a look again. Come on, turn and face me. It almost looked like it had is that not a cuckoo? It looks like a bit cuckoo-ish. The beak and the head shape just don't look, and the body shape and the way it's kind of sitting doesn't quite look dove-like. Maybe it is, I don't know. It's a difficult silhouette because it's puffed out. It's still quite cool this morning. Maybe that beak is right. Let's see, turn again. It doesn't look like the beak is long enough for a cuckoo, so dove, you're maybe right, Fergus. And that's not the bird that's calling either. It's further away. I'm not sure about dove. Maybe. Either way, beautiful sky that is silhouetted against, and unfortunately even if I look with binoculars I'm going to get no color from that whatsoever. Nancy, you say you would be happy just to see the sunrises and sunsets. Well, then I would imagine that you have a nice smile on your face after that last little image, because the golden skies are really very pretty, and sometimes we get absolutely spoilt by some of the sunrises and sunsets here. Yesterday afternoon was a magical sunset. The clouds were absolutely beautiful, and I would imagine that this morning, unfortunately, the sun just didn't quite come up underneath the base layer of clouds, because otherwise it would have made a really nice picture there. But it's still a very pretty sky and beautiful gold coloration, which is wonderful to see. Now, there is red in the sky, so that normally means if there's red in the sky in the morning, that it's going to be cloudy and overcast at some point, and a bit of rain on its way. Isn't that the saying, Fergus? What's it? Red sky at night, sailors delight. Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning, or shepherds take warning. One of those two, I can't remember. Sorry? They must both take warning, shepherds or sailors. Either way, it doesn't matter. When there's a red sky in the morning, everybody must be careful. Exactly, the sea shepherd himself, particularly. Yes, exactly. So for those of you who don't know who the Sea Shepherd is, the Sea Shepherd is a ship that harasses anybody that hunts whales. So I would imagine they would be very useful information to know that they should not be out and about in rough seas and bad weather if they looked at the sky. Well done, Fergus. Oh, there's a beautiful bird. There's a crested barbet that is next to us here, sitting fairly low down. It's hopefully not going to fly. It's quite fluffy, and I don't know why, but there used to be a comic strip here in South Africa that was called Albie, and it was in a little kids magazine that was done for the bush, and it was called Kustas, Mini Kustas, and it was done by Sam Parks, or the guys that run Kruger and things like that. And there's a little bird in there called Albie in a comic strip, and these guys remind me of that little bird every time. They don't quite have the same shape, but there's just something about them, because that bird was also drawn very fluffy with this quite heavy set beak, and was kind of all over the show and seemed to bounce around much like these crested barbets do as well. But the colors on them are absolutely beautiful. It's just flown ahead of us a little bit and is now sitting on the tree in front, so we'll try and see if we can get another view of it, although I think it might fly away. Let's have a look and see. Stay there, little crested barbet. Oh no, it's gone. It's flown away. Don't worry, Fergus, it's gone a long way. There it is, sitting on the back side there. So you can see beautiful yellow and reds and blacks that they've got, and all very fluffy. It almost is that not the fluffiest barbet you've ever seen? It's as fluffy as it gets. On the fluffy meter, didn't we have a fluffy scale? I think that would rate sort of halfway up the fluffy scale, that's for sure. It's definitely a fluffy bird. Now I want to try and find, if I can find a sort of picture of that comic strip, and see if I can show all of you, because it's maybe you guys will think I'm absolutely crazy. It wasn't in color, so it's not the colors, it's more just the shape and the way that they move around that was quite entertaining, and why it reminds me of them. But we'll get into that later. Once Taylor and Rolf join me, then we will get into that and try and see if I can find it while I'm driving around. The reason why I've come this way is because if Tundi left that den site to go hunting, or to just go and kind of do a bit of territorial patrols, then theoretically she could come along this way. It's an area that she has been using. She did have that kill on that side about a week ago, and so it's worth checking this section and worth just checking all these little mud wallows. Maybe she's here having a little drink before either heading back or heading out, or whatever the case may be. So it's good to drive in these areas and double check. So Kathy, you're wondering how many cubs Tundi has successfully raised. So 4 is how many she's successfully raised so far. The reason why I say that she has successfully raised them, and some of you might question this, because I know that Wabayuza was killed by lions, but he was already independent at that stage, so he was no longer Tundi's responsibility, so therefore she did raise him to independence, and that counts as a raised cub. Buhuti as well left Tundi and then disappeared, but it counts as being raised to independence. So she's raised 4 in total. Interestingly enough, of all of those 4 litters, every single one had a sibling that didn't make it, so she's got kind of a 50% win ratio in terms of being able to that's good news. apparently somebody's going to be very happy. We'll try and head in that direction, and there's a surprise for all of you, which will be very nice. Some people will be very happy. Yes, our cryptic is good sometimes, Fergus. Ooh, Julia, you have asked if I could be any animal for one day, what would it be? And apparently this applies to you and me, Fergus. And well, Nikki, because it applies to both of us, you need to tell us what you would want to be as well. Fergus, you can start.
Start, eh?
Yes, you get the honors of being first today.
So many, man. But it depends what time of day. I'd love to be a vulture.
You would love to be a vulture? Okay, and why would you like to be a vulture? You would like to be able to fly and zoom your eyes. I mean that you would be able to see nicely.
No, just because like now doing the drone thing.
Ah.
I'd be able to float up.
Okay, fair enough. So Fergus is learning to be a drone pilot and is busy doing all of his drone courses. And he says since he's been doing that, he would love to just be able to float up there. So to soar and to just take in the beauty of the landscape from above. I can relate to that. And see what you want to see and find what you want to find from the air. Fair enough, Fergus. That's a well thought out answer. Nikki Austin, what is your animal? You're not escaping this either. We want to know what animal you would be for a day. But you can't say you don't know. You want to be a horse. Okay, so but no, hang on a second before we go into the wild story, because yes, we do need a wild animal. I want to know, what about a horse is it that you want to be? Is it because horses are endeared by humans, or is it because they're beautiful? Is it what is the horse to understand? Okay, so they're powerful and that they can run everywhere. Do you like the fact that they can jump quite high as well, Nikki? I feel like you like the fact that they can jump. Nikki's a very active person, so I think jumping and running is all part of the appeal of a horse. Okay, fair enough. Well, then why don't we just say that you want to be a zebra, or does zebra not count as the same thing? I feel like it's a part of the same family. Too small, a zebra's too small. Okay, so you need a bit bigger. All right, fair enough. I'll give you a bit of time then to think about that while I kind of think about, I would want to be a big bull elephant like the one we saw yesterday. Maybe not in musk, because that's a little stinky and no one likes, to have a stinky friend. But I would just like to be able to roam around here and just go and check out everything and not really get bullied by anybody, not have to worry about being chased around or anything like that. So Julia, I would be a big bull elephant, Fergus would be a vulture, and Nikki, well, she hasn't decided yet, but she'll be a horse for now, and we'll shortly come back with an answer as to what wild animal she would like to be. And then I think that's it. The reason why I wouldn't want to be any of the predators is because predators have probably some of the hardest lives out here. Now it sounds really odd, but it's a short life and it is a very hard one, particularly if you are a male animal. You see what these guys go through on a day-to-day basis. It really is quite tough. So they get hammered by each other, and having to hunt and find food is not always that easy, and so I think being one of them must be really a tough time and not easy at all. So big bull elephant for me, that would be what I would be. Also, if it's hot, you can go swimming. If it's cool, you can just, you're a big animal, and so you generally are okay if it's nice and cool. And so I feel like that's a good animal to be. What do you think, Ferg? Have we chosen right? Yes, I think so. Christy, you're saying with some surprise, I feel, that I wouldn't want to be a leopard. I would want to be a leopard just because it would be easy to then know where they all go and how to find them better. But no, I like I said, it's a tough life that they have, and while a leopard is awesome and I would love to be able to climb like they do into trees and just venture around the way that they do, I just think that being a bull elephant would be just so much more fun, because you cover so much more distance. You don't have to worry about territories and having to keep that up and having to go and kind of pee everywhere and make a lot of noise. You can just roam around wherever you want to go, wherever their food is, and as long as you just keep to yourself, the other males don't really bother you, and so you can just do whatever. And I think that's the nice part about it, is just being able to go all over the place for long periods of time, see vast tracts of land, know what it's like to be one of the sort of oldest and wisest of the animals that we have here in the African bush. And I can push over my tree with my nose. How cool is that? Who doesn't want to push over a tree with their nose? That's living the dream right there.
One thing, I just want to like get the subtext.
Subtext?
Yeah.
Okay.
A not very hungry vulture.
A not very hungry vulture. Okay, fair enough, Fergus. I can agree with that. You can be a well-fed vulture for the day. Alright, perfect. So you don't have to go and put your head up the backside of a 5-day-old hippopotamus. Exactly. Fair enough. That's where no one would argue with that, I don't think. Right, now we are getting to our surprise. I don't think I've forgotten. We're just trying to get in that direction, but we get sidetracked a little bit. We all know that I've got a serious case of verbal diarrhea, and there's also a serious case of leopard tracks here, which is exciting. I think they're leopard tracks. They look like leopard tracks to me. There's hyena tracks, but there's a leopard, and not just one leopard, lots of leopards going up and down here. Interesting. I wonder if this is not a pride of lions that is here, actually. Interesting, because they don't go through the Mulawati. There's no tracks going through the Mulawati, but it looks like cubs from a lion pride. That's what it almost looks like. There's too many tracks for it to be leopards, so I just want to double check here, although unless there's a kill here and this animal's going up and down. There is a little water hole here. I want to quickly check this. Interesting. Now I'm just checking and trying to have a little look around here. I don't see any sign of anything. If it was a leopard, it would be a male leopard, but it would have been going back and forth, and I don't understand why a leopard would have taken the route to go 3-4 times up the road. It looks like more like tracks for little lions. Now I want to try and find the tracks so I can show you what's going on. The thing that turn around and go back to those tracks. This is obviously the tough part, is trying to kind of decode tracks while driving. And tracks are something that sometimes you just need to be off on foot to establish what's going on. But I want to just double check and see if they don't go into the Mulawati, because I didn't see anything going into the Mulawati. Here there is nothing. Okay, let's have a look. Just seems like a leopard was up and down here. Maybe it's sitting in these bushes having a look at us, just having a giggle as we're driving about, thinking that it's walked away from here. There's also a few tracks for hyenas as well. I don't see anything. Fergus, do you see anything? It doesn't seem like... Let's have a look. This is where the tracks get kind of very clear. It's just down as we start heading down here. There's hyena tracks, a lot of them. So I'm just checking here now. On our left hand side is where all the tracks are, so you should be able to see them clearly going down the road there. So there are some of the tracks there. Now there's hyena tracks mixed in with leopard tracks all over the place in that section. So I wonder if there wasn't a kill here that was robbed, and that's why the tracks kind of go up and down. Interesting. Nonetheless, we'll try and find anything. You see the tracks continue just down the road a little bit on that left side, but there's also there, as it starts to get that lighter sand, you can see them on the left. Those are nice and clear. So male leopard track, that on the left hand side. Maybe it's Tingana and Hosana walking around together. That could be a very real possibility, but you can see the tracks there on just above the stick is one track, and then to the further right in that lighter sand is another track, and then on the right side of the road there's a whole bunch more. So I wonder if there's just, like I say, maybe Tingana and Hosana have walked here, and one walked first and then the other one came afterwards. Because if you go to the right of the road, you'll see just on the right hand side where my tire track is, there should also be one or two tracks on that side too, also going in a sort of north. There you go, you can just see them coming back and forth just in front of my car. So there's another one over there. So this is interesting. I want to know what's going on here. What I might do is call for reinforcements. Scotty is out and about, and he can try and see if he can have a little look here. So next, if you can just let him know we're on Battalier Road at Spaghetti Junction, he'll know exactly where, and he maybe is worth for him coming down here and just double checking what's going on, because he'll be able to get off on foot and look around and try and just double check what's going on. I don't see anything going that way. The tire tracks going south of me look nice and clean. No, it doesn't look like a leopard walked there. I don't know where they could have gone, because I don't see anything coming down into the riverbed itself. It kind of looks like they just go back and forth and then they go almost as north into the drainage, but without walking, it's going to be tough. I just don't want to hope that I haven't driven over the tracks now so much that Scott doesn't know. No, they cross here and over onto this side. Alright, let's get Scotty to follow up on those, and I need to... There it is, there's the leopard, there's the leopard. We've got a leopard in front here. That's very cool, there it is. You see him sitting in the riverbed. So it looks like Tingana that we've got here. There we go, Fergus. So the trucks were coming this way, so we thought maybe, just maybe, he would be somewhere close by. And well, our other surprise will just have to wait, unfortunately, because this takes over from the other one. So I'll tell you what the other one is. It's a male lion that Scott found on Cheetah Cut Line. I think it's in Suku that's there, and then obviously this is Tingana this side. So it's good news that both of them are okay, and both of them have gone separate ways without hurting one another. But I'm going to be sticking with Tingana, that's for sure, because, well, he looks beautifully good in this riverbed, doesn't he? It's a wonderful picture to see. Something about a leopard in a riverbed. I don't know why I like it so much, but there we go. Now, there's definitely, like I say, a set for another leopard here. I'm almost 99% sure that there is another leopard in this area. It just seems, the way the tracks have been going up and down, that it looks like it. But you can see his limp is a million times better than what it used to be. So you can see he's got a nice kind of stride now. Even though he is still limping a little bit, it is still a million times better than what it was. Well, that's awesome to find. So, Safari Dean, you said, knowing me, that we'll find 2 leopards and wild dogs. Well, who knows? Maybe we will. The dogs are about, and the leopards, well, we found one. Whether or not the second one is here will remain to be seen, but let's just go forward. Tingana is obviously just doing a bit of toilet time. It's that time of the morning. He's just getting ready for the day, lightening the load before going off on his territorial patrol, much to the dismay of the woodland kingfishers above him. How cool is that? He's looking really good. He doesn't actually look as full as I would have thought he would, given that he managed to sit on a kill for the last 3 days. But I suppose they do digest very, very quickly. But still, great to see him, and it's really been so nice to see him as much as we have over the last little bit. And it's also nice not to be seeing him from about 4 kilometers away, like we have also the last 2 days. So it's very cool. Now he's doing his normal route. He's going to go up to Chelapan, and I hope that he's going to go and drink at Chelapan, because there's a beautiful golden light at the moment, and it will be perfect if he does go into that area. How cool is that? He is beautiful when he's up and moving. Guide monkey wondering, what do some of the animals smell like? Oh, look at that color on his coat when he goes up. And that shadow, very pretty. Well done, Ferg. What is the odor of some of the animals, and does it ever change? Well, guide monkey, so I mean, most of the animals don't really have too much of a smell to them. Things like buffalo and elephants, they tend to have a lot of dung smell around them, so it smells like, if you've ever been around a cow herd, you get a lot of that sort of vegetation smell, and the reason why is because they tend to defecate a lot. They've got poor digestive systems, well, in the elephant's case, and so they defecate quite a bit. And so the buffalo also, because they're ruminants and they just have that system, they do go to the toilets a lot, so you get that strong dung smell around them. Muskbull elephants obviously have that very chemical, very pungent, stinky, nasal, burny smell. And then you've got the cats, most of the time don't smell at all. It's only if they've eaten something that's quite rotten, then they get a bit of a rotten smell, especially lions. If they've been in the carcass, then they get that smell a little bit. Just want to go around the corner. I also need to call this in at some point, because otherwise everyone's going to get very upset if I don't. Stations are located on Tingana is mobile now in a westerly direction towards Pan from the Mulawati. We're just on the back side of the pan at the moment. I'm just going to go around quickly. So there we go. We've now let everybody know where we are. So he's going to hopefully come towards this water. Yeah, make your way. He's just approaching Pan now, so hopefully he's going to come drink here, but make your way. So there we go. We hopefully are going to have him drinking. He's walking straight towards the water hole. There's an elephant as well. So we don't have wild dogs and 2 leopards, but we've got a leopard and an elephant. And I just want to position ourselves a little bit differently here so that we can see the reaction of the elephant and the leopard when we are here. But here comes Tingana. He's going to come right down to the water's edge. Look at this. Isn't this just going to be the most wonderful picture? He's going to be straight across from us. I think he's going to just watch the elephant bull come past. But look at the reflection in the water there. Isn't that beautiful? Wow, that is very cool. Are you going to have a drink there, my boy? Yes, you are. Hold on, Fergus. I just want to turn you. So, Ferg, I'm going to just get you face on. Also, our Ellie bull is just coming behind us a little bit, so we have to watch out for that. But let's try and get that right there. Ferg, how's that? That's as good as it gets in terms of being right dead smack on into a leopard's eyes as it drinks, and he's completely unperturbed by the elephant at the moment. The Ellie is behind us to my right hand side and is just having a little feed, and you can see Tingana is not worried at all. But how beautiful is that? Look at those eyes. And he's drank in the most perfect place. We couldn't have asked for a better spot for him to have drank. It's literally, like I say, he's looking straight at us with the only vehicle here. He's got his little candy kind of cane tail that's sticking out to the side. And then every now and then he just gives us a little look from drinking. How beautiful is that? It's that quintessential leopard kind of picture. You'll often find a lot of photographers will go a long time trying to find a leopard drinking just like this in a nice open pan, and will be kind of have that dream to be able to see them, particularly with their eyes up like that, looking straight at a photographer. So you're being spoiled this morning by Tingana. It also just so happens that I don't even have my camera with me, so that's going to be a bit of a disaster. But anyway, these things happen sometimes. And you can see the tongue going down and just pulling up bits of water, and as he closes his mouth quickly. So for those of you that don't know how cats drink, they don't scoop water up. So everybody always thinks that they make a little kind of bucket with their tongue reversed and scoop things up. Here comes our Ellie past us as well. But they don't. That's not how it works. It's basically they've got this rough tongue covered in hairs, and that rough tongue causes surface tension to be, or basically lifts water. And so as the water lifts, they then close their mouth and they get those little droplets of water into the mouth. And that's why they often drink for long periods of time, because they're not lapping up huge amounts in one go. It takes them a while to get enough moisture to be able to get what they need. Bobby, you say, look how big that paw is. It is very big, isn't it? I mean, look at the size of his head in relation to the paw. It gives you an idea of just how big that paw is. So every now and then you'll see him looking, and that's because the elephant has just come round a little bit. So we have him on one side and then the elephant on the other side of the pan. So there he is, and there is the Ellie just on that side. And you can see neither one is too perturbed by the other one. They're just kind of meandering past each other. But how cool is that, to have two of Africa's most iconic animals in exactly the same place at exactly exactly the same time is very, very cool indeed. And there we go, back to Tingana, who's still having a good lap up of water. He's still drinking and trying to get as much as he can. Oh, look at that. I love it when he just kind of looks at us with those big eyes. Very cool. Rishi, you're wondering if leopards can get larger than Tingana? Yes, they can, most definitely. Anderson is larger. There was a male down in the south of the Sabi Sands called Mundlev that was also quite big and a little bit sort of the size of Tingana. I've seen Kashan male, Kampan male, Tyson. They're all probably bigger than Tingana. And then there's also Mbavala, who recently passed away. He was south of the reserve in the Kruger. He's also probably bigger. So there are a few examples of bigger leopards in Tingana. The thing about Tingana which makes him so impressive is that massive dewlap that he's got. He's got a much bigger neck than most of the other males that I've seen out here. He's got this huge big dewlap that makes his kind of neck appearance look that much larger, and therefore makes him quite intimidating, I would imagine, to a lot of other leopards. But he's by no means a small leopard, make no mistake. He is up there in the larger group, and he definitely, oh, look at that. That is spectacular. It doesn't get better than that. You can't ask for a better leopard sighting than seeing a leopard drinking like that and looking straight at us from time to time. Very, very cool. Are you thirsty, boy? I suppose he hasn't probably taken too much moisture on, given that he's been guarding a kill for the last few days. He hasn't had a time to get off that kill, because every time he would have moved, I'm sure Hosanna would have tried to get into that area. So he's probably really looking for water, and the fact that there's a nice big clean pan here is taking advantage of that and really going to have a good drink and absorb as much as he can from that. He's got the drooghies, yes. So in South Africa we say drooghies, which is an Afrikaans word for when your mouth is dry. And there we go. Well done, boy. That was exceptionally good. It was one of the better drinking shots I think we've had since I've been here, and we've seen quite a few leopards drinking. You can see he's sniffing around a bit. I wonder if he's not picking up the scent of Shadow and Tundi. Both of them have been in this area, and so I think he's probably smelling them. There's no other males that have walked around here, but there's definitely the two girls have been around a lot in this area, and you can see his nose is buried in that grass. He's really trying to smell, and he's going to do a Fleming grimace for us. So you see he just opened his mouth slightly, and he's just working out with that organ in the roof of his mouth called the organ of Jacobson what exactly is going on. Right, but I believe that Taylor and Ralph have joined us and are rearing to go, so let's go across to them so that they can say good morning from the East African plains.
Me out the corner of my eye. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Manu, and it's also Manu's 28th birthday. So happy birthday, Manu. Thanks for the good times. Thanks for putting up with me. Well, we know you've had to do that. For those of you who have just jumped on board the Safari Live, well, cars, welcome. Remember to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can talk to us via the YouTube chat. Manu, there's things down there. They look like sharks in the grass. Very far away underneath some of those trees. There we go. Now we're starting to get a shape. Are they rhinoceros? It looks like it, because the last time I checked, buffaloes don't have a big sharp pointy thing off the top of their faces. So there we have, and I think it's two black rhino hiding very, very far away in the distance. Can you imagine how difficult it would be to spot a lion in that grass? Well, there might not actually be two, it might just be one rhino. But very, very, very cool to come on down here. But unfortunately, this is a non-off-roading area, and we aren't able to go any closer. But the other morning around here, we had 6 rhino together. Maybe we'll get a similar thing. So let's go down a little bit further, where there's another favorite spot of the black rhinos. And then we're also looking for lions. I heard lions calling through most of the night last night, but they sounded like they were in the forests, and I think that's the Angamas. So maybe we'll get lucky and find the Olololos or the marsh breakaways this morning. Hopefully that will be the case. So, well, we're just going to keep bumbling until we find anything. I was actually convinced there was no life out here until that rhino. Mark, if you're wondering if there's any anteaters in the park, yes, here we call them aardvark, and Ralph fell into one of their burrows yesterday. So yes, there are. There's been a couple of sightings late at night of the thermal cameras with lions chasing them. So you can most certainly see them out here. But with the grass so long at the moment, it's virtually impossible to spot them unless you get them out crossing the road, or perhaps in a very, an area where the grass is quite short. Otherwise you're not going to see them. And it's quite sad because there's so many white-tailed mongoose and other little critters that we see running around normally when the grass is short, but we can't see them anymore. I mean, you just saw with that rhino, only the tip of its horn was sticking out and the tops of its ears, otherwise the rest of its body was kind of concealed. So for a small critter like that, they just get lost. I haven't seen one up here yet, but I'm hoping to. I'd like to see lions chasing after one and then the aardvark escaping in an ideal situation. I think that could be quite cool. I've never seen a live interaction between those two species, but I have seen lions eating aardvark many years ago. It's actually quite common. More common than we think, them eating those crazy critters. Okay. Some cars out on safari now. We're just going to sneakily pass them. Say hello, hello. Off we go. Oh, my lights on. Now, Dustin, you're wondering how big can a rhino's horn get? Quite large, depending on the species. White rhino horns tend to get a little bit larger than a black rhino. I would say the average again, it's all got to do with genetics. I have to search for that on the interweb because I actually don't know. It'll be different for both species, for black and for whites, like I said. So yeah, I'm not actually sure. I think it just depends. There's this one rhino down in the Eastern Cape, the black rhino. He had a massive horn. He's still alive. He has a massive horn, and it was so incredible to watch him grow over 3 years and to see how much his horn actually did, because he was quite a youngster, and then all of a sudden he had a growth spurt and really came into himself, and so did his horn. Grew quite a bit too. I mean, his horn must have grown at least a ruler's length in the 3 years that I was there. Just shot up, and then yeah. Oh, it's very quiet here. We're going to be in trouble. We're going to have to start visiting the other side of the reserve. Everyone has left the triangle now. CC Smith, you're wondering where are the white rhino? They're not here. Most of the population of white rhino are down in South Africa, actually in the greater Kruger Park, the wild ones. There are quite a few places that farm rhinos, but they're not wild. They don't just get to roam around and do their thing like they should. They actually constantly under protection. They probably live in bomas and they get fed lucerne and all sorts of other things. So yeah, that's where they are. We see lots of them down in South Africa. So many. The most white rhino I've ever seen in one game drive. It was like 37 or something ridiculous, different ones. It was a long morning game drive, but it was still so many rhino. It was quite cool, and this was all out in the wild. This wasn't in captivity, and that was a common sight to actually see. So it is quite nice when you get to see lots of them. I do miss seeing white rhino in their little calves. That was really nice. Nothing, absolutely nothing here at the moment, unfortunately. But we are hopefully we're getting closer to.
Well, unfortunately, there's a few little technical gremlins that are in the Mara side of life, so you're back with us in the beautiful stare that is Tingana's. And he's decided he's just come up, he let us have a really amazing vocalizing, and he scent marked, and he sawed his heart out, and then walked and promptly plops himself down in a bit of shade right next to the waterhole. And now something has just caught his attention. He was grooming and he was kind of cleaning himself, but all of a sudden his whole demeanor changed. He's kind of looking to the south a little bit. His head is much lower. He's very much kind of staring at something. I can't see anything. That elephant has disappeared. It's the direction that the elephant was, so it's kind of across the water point and then onto the other side, but I don't see anything at the moment. I don't see any signs of any other leopard or prey items or anything like that. So maybe he's just spotted some movement far in the distance, or the the elephant broke a branch or something like that, and that's why he was just kind of checking it out. But interesting is that he sniffed around in that bush and he was phlegm and grimacing, and as soon as he kind of finished with that, he started to vocalize and scent mark. So I don't know if maybe he's picked up a scent of another male, or he's just letting Thandi and Shadow know that he's here and that he's still the dominant individual. What is also interesting is that mystery male leopard that we have been seeing, or we've seen twice now. He apparently was calling last night and was seen very briefly around Sydney's Dam, Sandy Patch, that area, and maybe that's why Tingana is moving this side and is just proving a point. So you see, he's calling a lot, and so that's exactly what I'm trying to say, is maybe he's around just trying to prove a point, to tell everyone I'm the dominant male here. But the way he's looking is almost like he's telling another leopard here. I don't know, he's not salivating, which is interesting, but he's definitely looking around quite a lot and he's calling quite a bit. I don't hear any response from another leopard at all. But how cool is that? It is the best sound. Now, I know roaring lions is great, and we were talking about going to find roaring lions from the dam cam, but a sawing leopard for me is just the ultimate. I love listening to lions roar, I do, but sitting this close to a leopard as they soar like that is one of the most special experiences that you can have in a safari. So we've been spoiled this morning. Hopefully he'll do it again. It seems like he is. He seems quite serious this morning. So it's all about business and not about lounging around at this stage. Hey Dingo, you're wondering how old Tingana is? Well, I mean, it's difficult to know the exact age because he came here and we don't know exactly who his mother or father is, but we think that he is around 11 to 12 years, somewhere there, just given the time frame that he's been here and his general size when he first arrived. Oh, look at that. How beautiful is that, those eyes when he just looks up slightly. So we think around 11 or 12, somewhere in that general area, which means that he's getting older and he's getting on a little bit in the male world, and so he's going to have a lot of pressure from these unknown young males and from the likes of Hosanna and Tamba and Quarantine. So, it's going to get tougher for him rather than easier. He's dominated an area for a long time. I mean, he's been dominant. So he's been dominant for a long, long time, and it means that he's fathered inside a number of cubs, but he's definitely proving a point by sitting here doing what he's doing. He's telling whoever's around, I don't know who it is or who he smelt, but he's telling them that this is my territory, don't you dare come in here. And the fact that he's generally doing it and looking southwards might indicate that he's spotted something or he's seen something, and he's trying to now tell everybody, or tell this particular individual that might be somewhere here, that this is my area. I don't see anything though. I mean, I'm looking as hard as I can in the direction that he's staring, and there's most certainly nothing in that area. I don't see anything. I've just got my binos out and having a little scratch around and trying to see something. But I think if there was another leopard right here and that he could actually see, you might find a situation where he would kind of start salivating and really kind of get up and maybe move towards it. So I think it's more that he can hear something and he's maybe just got a little... What's going on, boy? You're very vocal this morning. Maybe the scent he picked up was for another male. Maybe he picked up the scent of that mystery male, maybe walked here, who knows. That's why he's maybe a little grumpy about this, because he was absolutely fine and was fairly relaxed, but his whole demeanor has changed since he lay down and since he smelt that bush. He's now become a lot more serious about what he's doing. Okay, boy. Are you making everybody know that you're here? trying to listen if I can hear another leopard calling, maybe somewhere in the distance, but I don't hear anything. Oh, okay. Definitely not another leopard here if that's how he's behaving, because he wouldn't just lie down if there was a rival that he felt like he needed to go and sort out. Maybe he's just making his point and just telling everyone, I'm in the middle of Djuma, this is the heart of my territory, just double checking that you all know that, and now he's flopping down. But just so weird, like I say, since he smelt that, he's been very vocal. We haven't heard him at all this morning. Other than that, there was no sound when we were getting ready for drive, and that sound that you hear now would carry a long way. Oh, there's a beautiful woodland kingfisher that has just come out as well. There's on the branch over there. Boy, what's going on? Who are you trying to impress? There's the woodland kingfisher in the morning light. So how beautiful is that as well? I know Tingana is a very pretty cat, but that is as good a view of a woodland kingfisher that you're ever going to get. And with that back gold light is absolutely perfect. I was trying to listen. I thought I heard another leopard respond to Tingana not far. So thought I heard it, and he's facing in the direction that I thought I heard it as well. So our kingfisher is going to sit there probably for a little bit longer. It's looking at this leopard as to say, why are you making so much noise? But woodland kingfisher, you do have no room to talk. You're very noisy yourself. Are you going to call again, Tingana? He is very vocal. Something's certainly getting under his skin a little bit, or something is making him... I wonder how... You can hear he's almost like growling a little bit as well. I can't see anything. Kathleen, you say... Do male leopards soar if they smell a female in heat? Yes, they might. Generally, it's the other way around. It's more the females soar and the males then track them down through that. But it's possible. I mean, you never know. He could be doing that. Difficult for us to say. I mean, we can't analyze that chemical scent and know what he's picked up. But whatever it is it's made him... It's made him very vocal, whatever it is. And normally when a leopard becomes vocal like this, it's normally an intruder that has come through their area that they are not happy about. So I don't think Hosanna would elicit this response. We know that Hosanna's been with him for the last 3 days. So to me, maybe this unknown male's walked through here. You never know. Maybe a female that's in heat, but I think it's more likely a different leopard that's around that's causing him to get upset. We'll soon find out. If there's another leopard here that's responding to him and that is also calling, he's going to head in that direction. He's going to go and try and challenge them, particularly if they keep coming closer towards him. Interesting. That sound he's making is almost like the same sound as a mother and cub. First Lady, you're asking, do you think he's feeling insecure about another leopard? It's not insecure. He'll be angry if there's another leopard in his territory, because he knows not only is it a threat to his survival as a male, because this area he knows where to find food, he knows where to find water, he has females here, he has offspring, so it's not so much that he's kind of perturbed by the fact that a male is here. It's more that he knows that that's a serious threat to his, and a challenge to him as a dominant male leopard. He's got to make sure that he keeps other males out, otherwise his offspring are gone, and his territory is going to disappear, and he's not going to have any sign of a territory, and it's going to be very difficult for him to be able to hold on to anything. Now, I think Tax, who's joined me now, is just going to go around and just check where he's staring in case there maybe is another leopard here somewhere close by. I think he wants to just go and double check. I think they might have heard another one somewhere in this area. Kobe is 15 years old. You're wondering if this is usual behavior for Tingana, and does he display this on a normal basis? So he does vocalize a lot. I mean, it's not like he doesn't vocalize. He definitely does make a lot of noise at times. And he will normally do it during the night. So you'll hear him kind of calling as he does his territorial patrol. So he'll go from, walking around, calling, walking, calling, walking, calling. But very seldom do we see him at this time of the morning, sitting the way he's sitting right now and vocalizing the way he is incessantly like this. It's normally they'll let off a call, then they'll walk a bit, call, walk a bit, call, whereas he's just sitting and just going and going and going. And there's also these small little sounds in between that he's making. He's making these almost like growling kind of, it's almost like a female when she calls her cub in a way. It's a weird sound that he's making. So I don't know if that's, you see that sound? Trying to listen to see if there's a response. And so is he. He's most definitely calling and listening. Every time he calls, he's listening to the south of him. Okay, copy that text. Is she mobile? Okay, copy. So that's why he's calling. Shadow is right here as well. So Tax has just found Shadow on the other side of this thicket. She's going down into the crossing itself. So that's obviously it. Is maybe she's coming into Estrus. Who knows? It's an interesting time. I'm surprised she's moving away from him, but I'm going to quickly just go and catch up with Shadow while she's close by. We'll come back to Tingana now. He's not going to move, I don't think, just yet. But he definitely picked up another leopard. Maybe he saw it from a distance and thought it was another individual, but right, let's just quickly have a little look. She's right here. I can just see the vehicle in front of me, and so she's not far away at all. I don't think that Tingana has seen her, but maybe that's who he's smelt, and she's now mobile, kind of away from this area. She probably was just up on this verge, and maybe he saw her before we actually saw her. But let's just quickly check. But there was definitely something that was making him stir a little bit, so now we know that it's a love interest and not a male. Beardra, you saying could he be looking for a female? Well, it's possible. I mean, I think it's more that he scented a leopard and he was calling. Whether or not it's a male or female, I'm not quite sure. So he obviously would have known, because he would have been able to pick up the scent and be able to work out exactly who it is. So he's got an idea. We don't, but he will have an idea. Now I'm just trying to check where she's going. She's just should be on my left-hand side, coming to this direction. So I'm going to just go around and we'll try and get her walking towards us. I don't think Tingana is going to move just yet. I think he's going to be probably still down, hopefully, because it's difficult to catch up with him when he starts to move. But how exciting is this? Not one leopard, two leopards. Now we just need those wild dogs that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So I just wanted to stop here because I wanted to see if she was coming this way, but it seems as though she's now stopped up on that side, which is not exactly ideal. No, she's going the other way now, which is an irritation. Is she going the other way? Oh, you got it? Yeah, there she comes. So she's coming down our way. Hold on, Ferg. Fergus has got his eagle eyes this morning. Vulture eyes. Let's see. So she's going to come out. There she is, just on my left-hand side. She is going to cross paths with Tingana's scent. So maybe she'll follow the scent and we'll see the two meeting up. That'll be really cool to see. So she's going to pop out just on my left-hand side. Where is she? There she is. So you can see her. She's just at the base of that tree. How cool is this, guys? Is there two leopards there? There's two leopards. There's not just one. There's another leopard. Look, behind her tail. There's a second leopard there. So there's three leopards here. This is ridiculous. Let's see. I don't know who it is yet. Maybe it's not Barbara or Barbara, but it's definitely Fleming grimacing. It looks like Shadow's cub as well. So it is Shadow and the cub are together, and Tingana not very far away as well. So all of them, and this is, I would say, maybe 300 meters south of where Tandi's had her den. So it's not far from Tandi's area as well. And this calling might involve Tandi too. Who knows if she's going to arrive? It's just one after another, but that's definitely Shadow's cub that is there. You can see it sniffing about. I wonder if maybe she doesn't have a kill, that she's bringing the cub back. You can see, look at how that little cub is sniffing. Isn't it a beautiful little thing? How cool is this, guys? Oh, we're being spoiled this morning, that's for sure. Not only do we have the big male calling, we've got little one Fleming grimacing. Mom is also here, so everybody's around. This is absolutely insane. Very cool to see. So we are being so spoiled. Not one, not two, but 3 leopards in one sighting is just ridiculous. And I'm not 100% sure yet if they're going to make their way there. It looks like Shadow is slowly coming up sort of northwards. There goes little one, playful as ever. And looks like Shadow is slowly coming for. Look at that, look at that. Oh, guys, isn't that great? That is so cool. They are going to bump into Tingana if they come north any further than what they're doing. They're going to go to Chelapan, and Tingana is not a threat. I mean, he's been seen with Shadow before and this little one, but how epic is this? This is as good as it ever gets. You can't ask for anything more than seeing 3 leopards in the same place. It really is It's why the Sabi Sands is the way it is and why it's as famous as it is, because to see all these cats in one place is very seldom that you're going to get this. But let's carry on and keep up with them. We don't want to lose sight. They are going towards where Tingana is. They're heading in that direction, so we're probably going to see a join up of all 3 of these leopards. Now hopefully Tingy is not going to be in a grumpy mood. Hopefully he's going to be delightful with the little one and with Shadow. I hope he doesn't get too kind of sassy with them, as sometimes he can be. I just want to go a little bit forward. I know that the cub is behind us. Shadow was moving in this direction, but let's just stop in here because there is a path that comes down, so they might take that. I just want to watch and see if they come. So they're just on the top behind us. You can see the little one is running along. It's also just trotting. Come on, keep up with Mom. This looks like they're going up the bank. Ferg, let's go up the bank. I think they're going straight to where Tingana is. Remember, this is where we found Tingana earlier. This is where he was sleeping and resting. So I'm sure they're going straight towards where he is. Let's get up here quickly. But now we know why he was so vocal. This is definitely was another leopard here. So that's why he's made so much noise. Okay, now they should be just here. Trying to see where he is and where they are. So he's off just to my right. They should be just off to my left. So I believe a lot of you are very happy about this and that we've got all of these leopards together. I'm careful with feet. I mean my hands and my feet, so that I don't knock them all off. Now I can't see where she's gone. She was running in this direction, the little cub, so somewhere here. Let's maybe just go and park with Tingana because I think they're going to appear here. Tax is also behind us, so he's going to have a little look there. Tingana, I don't know if he's here anymore. I think he's moved. Let's just have a look. He was just behind this bush here, but I think he's moved now. Maybe he's come to investigate the cars. Yes, he's not here anymore, so I think he's moved. No, there he is. He's still there. Okay, so he's just looking over his shoulder. Maybe this is the best place to be, because if Shadow and Cub appear at the pan here, they're going to appear from that side. So here we go. Sorry, Ferg, I know it's bright sunlight in this area and it's shooting against the light, but let's see. Alright, so there we go. Now Shadow and Cub were moving straight in this direction. That's why I'm just parking here, because I can't see them. He's still looking over his shoulder. I'm sure if he gets visual of them, he's going to go towards them, but I don't see them at all. Tax, I don't think sees them. Oh, there they are. They're just on the other side of the dam coming across. He's calling. Listen, he's calling. There they come. They're coming out there. They're in front. So they're coming straight towards him. There you can see Shadow is coming. And he's just making a soft contact call. This is amazing. 3 leopards in the same place, guys. How incredible. There they come. You can see Shadow's not worried. She knows he's here. He's been very vocal, so she knows for sure that he's in this area. Look at that. This is very special. and Tingana is speaking like a little cub. You see the little cub is chuffing back to Tingana, so they're all coming, and you can see Shadow's not worried. She knows that, Tingana, I know you. I'm going to come and say hello. He's also here. Let's see how this interaction plays out. Is she going to go for a drink first, or is she going to come straight over to him? This is ridiculous. Boy, you sound like a little cub. This is amazing. Look, and you can see Shadow's not perturbed. She's looking to drink. The little cub wants to come say hello to Tingana. So all three of them are here right next to each other now. We've got them all in a group together. This is, for those of you that like screenshots, now's the time to screenshot. When you can see 3 leopards in one frame, that is what you want, is to have all of them together. Now, Shadow and Cub, you see they're both chuffing, and Tingana's just off to our left-hand side. She's now going round, and they're going to have a little drink, but see, Tingana is not worried at all. But you can also see size difference. Look at the size of him in comparison to the young little cub that is almost a year old. You can see just how much bigger he is than her. It is absolutely insane to see. This is something that is incredibly special to witness. Well, welcome to all the new viewers that have joined us on this epic sighting that we are having unfold in front of us. So we've got a male leopard closest to us that has been sitting, that we found early this morning, and he's been very vocal. He's been calling and making a lot of noise, and we were wondering what was going on. We thought maybe there was another male leopard, because we have got a new male leopard that's been moving around that he had seen, but no, what he has got is a female and her cub. So we have not 1, not 2, but 3 leopards in the same sighting, and that is incredibly rare. It's not every day that you get to see them, and they're now about to meet for the first time. These female and cub have just arrived. They've just walked in, and look, she's coming right up to him, and you can see, listen to the sounds. Now this is all part of a greeting. Male and female leopards don't spend time together normally. This is in... So I believe our action broadcast is not actually working, but look at that. Look. How epic is that? Did you see that? They walked past him, and even though they're standing up, they're almost the same height as his head. Isn't that incredible? Look at this, guys. Oh, Shadow's being a little grumpy. I think she doesn't know quite what to make of all of this. Did you see her smell his tail? And then he got a little grumpy. Now everybody's a bit grumpy with each other. The cub is growling at Mom is growling at Cub, Tingana is growling at both of them. But this is just ridiculous. No. How cool is this? And all are not even around a kill. That's the most amazing part. I mean, you see this sometimes when there's a kill around, but this is not even anywhere near a kill. You've got a situation. Look, she's chuffing and coming in. Look at that. Wow. And you see how she's showing submissive behavior, rubbing up her head, chuffing to him, just kind of showing him, I'm not a threat to you, don't worry about me, I'm just here to say hello, and just affirm that you are the dominant male. Here comes the little cub now as well. Let's see what this brings about. Tingana is a little growly, I think he's but look at that. There we go, there's the screenshots if you want them. That is ridiculous. 3 leopards together, cub, mom, father. Absolutely insane. This is as epic as it's ever gonna get. Wow, guys, we are being absolutely spoiled. Now I think Shadow and Cub are going to leave and carry on now. I think they're going to leave Tingana behind. Whether or not he follows is going to be interesting to see. At this stage, he doesn't look as though he's too interested, but they are walking straight north to where Thandi has had her den. So it's not even like they're going in, you know, it's going to be interesting. Who knows? Maybe Thandi's going to appear on the scene as well, and we'll have the first sister sort of sighting together in a long time. Now, please excuse Ferg's hand. He's just trying to just block the sunlight a little bit. It's a very odd angle that we're sitting at, and so he's just trying to keep it from kind of coming into the lens and causing a flare, and that's why he's got his hand there, if you might see it every now and then. But Tingana doesn't seem to be interested in following Shadow and the cub right now. He seems as though he's just going to lounge here. I might follow Shadow and the cub rather, because I have a funny feeling that they're going straight into where Thandi has been keeping the cub, and I wonder if we're not going to see, like I say, a sisterly meetup, and how amazing would that be to see Thandi's reaction, and whether or not she gets very upset by her sister being there, or if there's some sort of ridiculous sighting, and dare I say it, that the two cubs start playing together. That would just be the most insane thing that we could ever imagine. But let's, like I say, keep up with Shadow and Cub. I don't want to lose them because they are mobile northwards. I think Tingana is going to just rest here, or if anything, he's going to follow where they go. So right, let's carry on with the other two, and while we do that, let's head back to Ralph in the Mara. It sounds like they've managed to figure out those gremlins and chase them away, so I'm sure they're rearing to go and want to say hello again.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another lovely morning's game drive out here in the Masai Mara in Kenya. Seems like there's been a lot of activity and excitement over in Djuma, but we've managed to find ourselves a lovely martial eagle and some ostriches. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and we've got Archie on the camera. There's my right-hand man, right-hand or left-hand thumb of Archie. Now, just out here having a look. It's not every day that we get to see a sub-adult martial eagle together with some ostriches. And with male and female ostriches, very easy to tell between them. But let's have a look at that martial eagle to start with. Now, please don't forget to join us on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter and on the YouTube live chat. Send us your questions and your comments, and we'd love for you to be involved with us as we go on this reality game drive. Now, that being a sub-adult martial eagle, you can see with the colouring of him, not quite got all his stripes just yet. Now, BK, I know that you have asked this morning to see a martial eagle. Well, there we go. That's just for you, BK. And it is a sub-adult. You can see he hasn't got all of his colours just yet. And there comes a male ostrich. He's a little bit in breeding plumage. You can see how pink his legs are. That's not because he's sunburnt. That's going into breeding plumage, and very black feathers with the white, a very distinct colouring, that of the male, and the female a lot more drab brown. Now, ostriches are traditionally from very arid areas, so you generally won't find them where it's very wet, or where there's a wet climate. They don't do as well. They do very well in the desert or aridy regions, and they're actually water independent, so they don't need to drink water their entire life. They can get enough moisture from the vegetation that they feed on. They are pretty much mixed feeders. They'll eat anything that they come across, including a lot of stones and grit. And they do this to help with their digestion. So they eat actually rocks and stones and all sorts. But actually fascinating birds, these. Lost the ability to fly many moons ago. But right, we're gonna probably head down towards the river and see if we can find some hippos, etc. down there, and whatever else we can see. But in the meantime, let's go back to Tristan with those spotted cats.
Well, we are back with them, and Shadow and Cub are coming back to Tingana now. So they went north a little bit and now back towards him. And so we've got both our limpy spotted cats together. You can see Shadow's still got a slight little limp. Tail is wagging a little bit, but she's going straight towards Tingana. I wonder if she's not starting to come into an estrus now, and that she's going to have a situation where we're going to see her maybe trying to kind of fool Tingana, either to keep the cub safe and mate with him, or where she's actually really starting to come into estrus. It would be a very early The little cub got a fright and jumped into the air completely. It went about 2 meters into the air. Absolutely insane. I wish you could have seen that. It was just a very fleeting glimpse, but the little cub just went shooting like a rocket up into the air. Absolutely insane. Shame, little one. Did you get a fright with the car moving? But this is just too much. We are being spoilt in ways that I don't really know how to explain all of this. I mean, like I say, it does happen, and it's not the first time there's going to be a male leopard and a mom and cub. I mean, they do come together at times, but like I say, it's normally over food. It's very seldom in a situation like this where, you know, the female has brought her cub straight to where the male has been vocalizing. That's not a common thing to see. Normally females just kind of shy away. Even if it is the proposed father, it doesn't mean that they generally want them around. So, you know, it's an interesting kind of behavioral dynamic between the two of them. And you can see Shadow gives poor little Not Barbara a lot of trouble. Now we're going to try to do another action broadcast, so I'm going to just keep quiet for a little bit. Well, very warm welcome to all of our new viewers that have just joined us. As you can see, we're in the African bush with the most elusive spotted cat, and no, it didn't work, so we are not going to be going live with an action broadcast again. But that's okay, because all of you are with us, and so you guys are all getting spoilt. You see, look where they are now. That's exactly where Tingana was sitting and was scent marking earlier. That's where he first started. Now you can see Shadow and Cub are also looking in that area, and I wonder if it's because he urinated over the top of it, or if maybe another leopard has also been scent marking here. I wouldn't be surprised if Tundi's scent marked here. It's not far from where Tundi's been over the last couple of days, and so it wouldn't surprise me at all if she's also in this area and also been scent marking. So it's such interesting behavior, though. To see these three together has got to be one of the most epic sightings that we could possibly have. Now I know we haven't got the wild dogs, but we'll take a third leopard over the pack of dogs for now, that's for sure. It's definitely been a bumper morning so far. So Shadow's calling the cub now. She's telling the cub to come with her. The cub is still buried its face inside that bush. That was an angry mom. She just shouted at her cub, "Come, you are not listening to me." And I think that little one's going to chase mom. Let's go around the back and just see what's going on here. Tingana is not really perturbed by all of this. He's still just taking it very, very easy and is just kind of watching the going on and just like, oh, well, it's Shadow. I know her. I know that cub. That's my offspring. I've mated with her. So he's now into complete chill mode at the moment. He's not worried at all. Listen, listen, listen. Chitty Chatty Meg, you're wondering if Tingana would kill the cub of Shadow to bring her into estrus. No, because it's his cub, so it's his offspring that he wants to protect and keep around, and that's why he's, you know, scent marks here, why he chases other male leopards away, because this little cub is his. He doesn't want to kill his own offspring. But look at that, 3 leopards, 1 shot, epic. This is as good as it gets, guys. We're being absolutely spoilt by this. I don't know if Shadow knows what to do. She's kind of back and forth trying to kind of talk to him a little bit, and then goes away, and then she comes back again. But wow, I mean, it's, like I say, as epic as you could ever ask for. Brenda, you're wondering how old Shadow's cub is now. So Shadow's cub is now, will be a year old around the 1st or 2nd of January. Somewhere there is where it was born, and we know that it was around that time because we actually were on an impala carcass with Shadow, and she got up heavily pregnant and ran without even eating the impala. She had just killed it, and she just ran from the carcass all the way to a drainage line. She was then spotted the very next morning with suckle marks, and she completely abandoned that kill. So she wouldn't have killed an impala and not gone back to feed off it if she hadn't given birth. And so it was about a year ago, so January 1st, January 2nd, somewhere there, but look at the light on these two. This is just so beautiful. These two are in the most perfect golden morning light. Look at that. I think this is the best sighting I've had of this little cub as well, because it used to be a skittish little cub. Now look at it, it's now super relaxed, walking around, vehicles around, doesn't matter too much, just doing its own thing and being as normal as you could ever wish for. It's so cool. Actually wondering why the cub isn't more uncomfortable around Tingana. The reason for it is because this little cub knows Tingana. It's not the first time that these guys have met. It's not the first time that Shadow has brought her cub anywhere near Tingana. They would have spent a lot of time in the same areas together. So this is not it's not the first occasion. The cub knows who Tingana is. He kind of walked straight up, chuffed at him. He didn't really respond, so the cub is super chilled with that whole situation. It's not really going to be too worried or too perturbed by what's going on. So that's why there is no sort of animosity between the cub or Tingana, and why the cub doesn't worry. Also, it's reading mom's body language. As soon as mom is as relaxed as she is, certainly is not going to worry at all about being scared. If it can see mom is relaxed, well, might as well be relaxed myself and just enjoy it. So we're going to try to keep up with them here. Whether or not we can is probably debatable. This area that she's going into now is incredibly dense. I've followed a few leopards through here now, and it really isn't easy to keep up with them, but we'll try our very, very best and just see if we can. It's okay to start with, and then it gets really bad, and then it kind of opens out again. So if we can just keep them through the hard part, which we'll see now which way Shadow is going to take us, but if she takes us more to the north, then we're going to really struggle a little bit unless she goes onto the road itself. I can't see where she's gone though. I thought she was right here. Where was the last time you saw her, Ferg? Also in this area. I suppose there is a termite mound that she might have gone and lay on. Oh, here she is. She's right here. There we go. So she's just on my right hand side. I wonder if she doesn't have a kill somewhere, because it's interesting to me that she's potentially with her and she's marching with the Tingana because of his. I wonder if there isn't maybe. She's calling now. It's calling the cub. Come on, catch up. It's being a good mom. Shadow, you've done very well. And she's done as safe could be so far. And if these areas now where Tingana is, I'm going to try and just reposition. I believe I've got some technical issues to sort out. And so while we do that, let's go back across to Curdy, and well, I don't know what she's up to, but I'm sure it will be entertaining knowing her.
Hello everybody, sorry about Tristan's Gremlins. So we're still driving around. There's not much happening in the triangle today, except I did see some really cool leopard tracks. That was lots of fun. Oh man. Look at that. Oh no, I made it. Oh, hang on, wait, Manu, I'm gonna go forward. Hang on. Ah, it's okay, rhino. There's a black rhino. That's a baboon. I just didn't roll the car enough. Let me see if I can get another view. I think I can just hear the leaves rustling past its body as it moves through that thicket. Oh man. That was so close. That was so close to that black rhino. I think we both got a fright as we came around the corner, but it has now disappeared into the thicket. That was very cool. It was such a quick glimpse. Whew. I'm so sorry I didn't roll the car forward enough. I should have kept going. But there's a couple of baboons sliding down the tree though, which is cool. I think they got a fright when the rhino started moving quite quickly through the bushes. So then they all jumped up this tree. They all shimmied their way up, which was quite cool. I'm hoping that one's going to climb down. But yeah, so what I was saying is that we were tracking a leopard, trying to look like a female, and she left all lovely fresh footprints on the ground, but unfortunately she just carried walking along the Mara River And, well, we couldn't follow it, unfortunately, because the road didn't go that way. Now, Sherry from Rhode Island, you said that was your first black rhino sighting. What? Did you miss the beginning of the show? Because we had one already. We've been lucky today. That's our second black rhino for the morning. The other one was just very, very far away. That was very close and a very quick glimpse. Oh, I'm so cross with myself that I didn't roll forward a little bit more. What an idiot. Sorry, Manu. That was inexperienced right there. It was very silly of me not to keep the car going for a little bit longer till I knew that I had the perfect spot, but I just got so excited. But I think that these baboons have all been roosting up in these trees, and now they're just starting to wake up. It's quite chilly this morning. It has been quite cold. So they're all just trying to sun themselves. Some of them probably already having a little nibble on some fruit and getting to find my two favorite lioness. That's why we've actually come here. Although that rhino is nice. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, we didn't get to tell you this because the Gremlins got us. James, you were wondering what Manu wanted to see for his birthday. He requested something quite difficult. He says a serval hunt. Not even just a serval hunting. So we'll probably have a better chance of finding that this afternoon into the Sunset Safari Drive. We'll have to start a little bit later to get that. But you never know, we could find one during the day. It'll just be quite hard. And need the thermal and I think the help of the spotlight to be able to find that. Yeah. But I don't know why it's so quiet in the triangle all of a sudden. It's upsetting. It's been so good. Those lions are in the forest still. They're annoying me now as well. That they've been in there for such a long time. What on earth are they doing? Are they having like a week Christmas party or something? Have they gone on vacation? But it's not good for us because no, I don't think we've seen the Angama Pride for quite some time. Since TV actually. Since we did Big Cat Week. Haven't seen them. But we could find lions because this is a very good spot for those marshy females that like it around here. They often also hunt in forested areas, and then when they have no luck in there, they come out to the open and then try their luck with warthogs. I'd like to see that today. A little lion stalk, even if it's not successful, it's always quite exciting to watch them. Now I am focusing because I really want to find some animals. It bugs me when we just drive around and we just see impala and the odd buffalo here and there. That's never fun. Or when you go through those gaps where you drive for 10 minutes and you don't even see a bird. So I'm making sure that I don't miss anything this morning. Checking under all the trees. Now, Guide Monkey, wondering how does Manu handle disappointment? Actually very well, surprisingly, much better than I do. I normally throw a bit of a tantrum. Manu doesn't do anything like that. He's very well behaved and he's calm and he's so relaxed all the time. So I enjoy working with Manu because he calms me down, just brings me down a level. Hey Manu. And then when I get cheeky, then he gets a stick out and he hits me and he tells me to relax. So I'm pretty sure Manu will be okay if we don't see a serval hunting tonight, but I will try extra hard. Because you're 28! Almost! Next year, 29! If anyone watches New Girl, you'll get that joke. So that's a joke around camp. Anyone that turns 29, I'm going to have to wait for quite some time before I turn anywhere near either of those ages. We'll get there eventually though. I'm going to age slowly. Hello Impala. Where's the rest of your herd? It's very dangerous for you to be out here by yourself, and I think she knows that. She's very jumpy. Don't run into the forest. What's wrong with you? There could be a leopard there. That's the last place that I would run to. She's very nervous. He is working very hard. She keeps looking in there. She's not alarming. There's also no other impala around. Unless the other impala are perhaps in the forest and she was the last one through. See that how she's hesitating? She doesn't want to go charging on in there because she knows that there, of course, could be a leopard laying there. And if she... Oh my gosh, look, Manu, there's a hippo watching us. That is creepy. Oh my gosh. Here we go, just to the right. House guy. Never mind, here's me talking about the impala. Meantime, we're being watched by a hippopotamus. First a black rhino, now a hippo. I wonder what else I've driven past that's been staring me in the eyes. It's a big hippo too. That's not a small character. Oh, what is... Let's see. That's a scary look. That's the kind of look you don't want to be given when you're on bushwalk and you're 20 meters from a big hippopotamus. That would send shivers down my spine. Off we go. It's going very slowly, not racing towards the water's edge this morning. Probably because of us, just keeping an eye out on us. Off we go. That creature would almost be as long as this car. That is not a small animal. I really wish you could all see how big a hippo is in real life. Especially when it's out walking around next to an impala. They are massive. And giving us a perfect view today. Out in the water. Out of the water. Very cool. Okay, well, we'll let this hippo carry on with its day and head back towards the Mara River. Ralph has also got two different animals in the same shot.
Taylor, yeah, from a very big hippo to a very big hyena. Now, that female there, I suspect is pregnant. If she isn't pregnant, she is the fattest hyena I've ever seen. That you can see there nicely also the difference between a male and a female. That's a female, and coming up behind her somewhere, there's the little male. So quite a big difference in size with spotted hyena. And behind them, there was some topi running through. And we've also got a lovely setting here with a very big herd of buffalo off to the side, and behind there is topi. There were also some ostrich there. And there's one or two ostriches in amongst the buffalo. And from a distance you can see nicely the difference between male and female ostriches. Very drab brown, the female, and the males being quite a brilliant black and white. And you can see a little bit of the pinkness on the legs. Now, with ostriches, you also get an alpha male and female. And what happens then is there will be a lot of subordinate females within the same female. And what happens then is the dominant, a lot of
Now, unfortunately, it seems as though Ralph is still dealing with those gremlins. I've lost visual of Shadow and Cub because they were somewhere here, and I thought they were coming straight towards the road, but they seem to have just done a little disappearing Houdini act on me. They're kind of heading in this direction. The squirrels are still going absolutely crazy, so maybe they are still here somewhere. I just don't know. She keeps changing direction so much. It's difficult to kind of know which way she wants to go. But the last time I saw her was just straight through this thicket, and she was just kind of lying down. So I thought that she would be on the road by now already. Maybe she's headed back towards where Tingana is, because it's not far from where I last saw her. It was right here, heading back towards the road itself. So we're going to have to try and just turn around quickly and just go down and see. Maybe she's crossed and moved out of this area. It's so difficult in here. It's really not easy. As you can see, it's incredibly thick and incredibly tight in there. So it's not going to be easy for any vehicle, not even ours, to go through that thicket. I was hoping that she was going to continue towards the road and I'd catch her on the road, but I see now that where she was lying and where the road is very close, and so maybe she went trotting over the road without me even realizing it and has crossed onto the other side here. I mean, it's very possible, but it didn't take me long to get this side, so I would have thought I would have seen her. And like I say, the squirrels are still alarm calling and still going crazy, although they tend to do that once they've been frightened and been chased, because little Shadow's cub chased those squirrels quite a bit. So I don't know, let's just try go back up this way and see what's happening. Maybe they've come back this side. I don't think so somehow. I think that they general direction is trying to go north, but I think Shadow is just so back and forth because the little cub is running around. Let's see if Tingana is still here. If he's still here, then maybe we'll be able to sit with him. Oh, there she is. She's right in front of us. She's on her way back to Tingana, which is good news. So there we go. You two almost gave us the slip. Well done. And we've got it all to ourselves. That's just the even better part about this right now. It is absolutely amazing. What's wrong, girl? I still think she might have a kill somewhere that she was trying to take this cub to, and she's now having to do delay tactics and loops around and go all over the place to try and kind of keep Tingana away. I think Tingana's moved a little bit towards sort of pangolin trackside, because I can see a vehicle in the distance there, and I think that's the one that's with Tingana. So I think Shadow and Cub are coming back to Chelapan, but no Tingana here that I can see. So I wonder if they're going to come and drink again. With all this walking, she might drink again. Let's have a look. Tingana's definitely up and moving, so he's moved from his spot. It might be a beautiful picture from here. Let's see if she's going to come down and drink. She looks like she's going to. So you see, she's just scenting where Tingana walked, so she's kind of having a look. But that light on those two is spectacular. It is as good as one could ever ask for. And that is leopards out in the open, not a single blade of grass in front of them. It is as good as you could ever ask. So look at that, isn't that cool? Let's see, now they're coming slowly towards the water. I wonder if they're not going to come for another little drink. She's drank twice already, but you never know, she might come again. But look at that. We are being spoilt, that's for sure. Oh, and a little break in the shade. Both of them, like mother, like daughter. You can see the little one is just sitting down, just having a bit of a rest now as well. Although this little cub seems to be full of energy this morning. Karen, you're wondering if Shadow would... Sorry, I was just keeping quiet because of the vocalizing. You're wondering if Shadow would recognize Tundi as her sister. Well, I mean, it's possible. I suppose they are more intelligent than we think, and their sense of smell and their memory maybe would indicate that they would know, but they're probably not going to be... How cool is that? It's not every day that you can say you've heard a male and a female leopard saw in the same morning. Oh, a little swat from little one. You're full of beans this morning, little one. Very naughty. And so, I mean, whether or not they'd be nice to each other, I don't think so. They both are territorial individuals, and therefore they've both got cubs at the moment, so they'll be highly defensive of those cubs. So if they bump into each other, I think there'd be a lot of snarling, a lot of growling, a lot of hissing. Whether or not they would actually fight, I'm not quite sure. But it's possible. If it's anything to defend their cubs, it doesn't matter if they were sisters before, they most certainly will defend their cubs. But I would like to think that these two most definitely would recognize each other if they did bump into each other. Mita, who's 9 years old, you wondering if Shadow calling like this means that she wants Tingana to follow her? I don't know, maybe. I think it's more a case that she's trying just to kind of probably protect herself and the cubs. So she's calling, she's making sure that he knows that they are around, that they're here, that they know that he's here, and that they are being submissive towards him. Also, she could be starting to come into a first estrus since she's had the cub. It would be a little early, but we know that with Sindile, she did mate at around a year old. So it's possible with this little one that she's trying to mate with him. That's why she could be calling as well. Difficult to say at this stage. It's not an easy one to kind of decode. I mean, we can't really know what they're thinking. There's vocalizing from both the male and the female, and so it's possible that she is in a situation where she could very well be coming into estrus. So I want to just go forward for Ferg so that he can try. Now, the two of them are having a little growling session at each other. They both seem as though they're not too impressed with one another. Ferg, just hold on. I'm just going to get round so we don't have to deal with the aerials. There we go. So, Miranda, you're wondering if females would ever kill another's cub? Well, yes, it's been recorded before. It's not necessarily something that happens very often, and it's very rare to see, but it has happened before, and there has been females that have killed other females' cubs. Hopefully we won't see that happen. Hopefully Shadow will leave Tandi's cub alone. Hopefully we'll have a situation where, you know, that will the two of them will just settle in and both of them will be okay. What is interesting to me is it's amazing how both have pushed back into their natal territory. So even though Shadow and Tandi were both dominant in other areas, they've both forsaken their sort of southern boundaries to push north into their natal territory, which is fascinating to me. So I wonder if they're both vying for this area. Maybe they know that this is a great area to have cubs and den sites, and so that's why they're kind of having so much competition between the two of them. So Philip, now that Shadow has finished her little communication, you're wondering if this is the border between the two of them. Well, it's difficult to say because Tandi and Shadow seem to keep kind of having fluid movements, and they keep overlapping with each other. So I've seen Tandi far to the west, so towards Treehouse Dam, and going south from there, and now we're seeing Shadow pushing northeast into the Mulawati, close to the lodge and towards Gari Dam. So it's two very kind of females that are both trying to establish themselves here and trying to take over their old mother's territory, and each one is trying to get the best part of it. And so I think there's still a bit of settling going on and a bit of kind of competition, but I can tell you Tandi, if she's anywhere nearby and is hearing this, is not going to be very happy. I'm pretty sure her blood is going to be boiling if she's hearing another leopard calling both male and female. So I wouldn't be surprised she does show up in this sighting at some point this morning. The more she's hearing this, I'm sure the more she's going to come in here and see what's going on. So we could have a little sister battle. I'm not quite sure, but how sweet is that? Look at the two of them. Isn't that just the coolest thing? Oh, we are being so spoiled this morning. This is really very special. Look at that. So even though she does growl at that little cub a little bit, you can see she still does have a lot of affection for it. And oh, look at the size of that little one's paw and the claws already. At a year old, look at that paw. It is massive, still going to grow quite a bit. No, Mom, don't push me over. Oh, this is very special. Mom, play with me. Stop looking at the vehicles. I want you to play with me rather. This little one's got lots of feistiness in it. I like it. It's cute, and it seems to have a lot of playful energy. Of course, obviously it's a leopard, so there's no chance that I wasn't going to like it, but I just like its demeanor. It's come out of its shell a lot since she was a young little cub when she was timid. Now it's very playful and very full of itself. Right, let's catch up with them and see where they go. So Space Chief, you're wondering about female territories and whether or not sizes are the same or different, and what is kind of how it works. So female leopards will have a territory that is dependent on the density of other leopards in the area, so they'll push as much as they can to have as big a territory as they can with as much food and as much water as possible. But as soon as we get to a situation where they then meet resistance, that'll be the end of their territory. So in areas where you've got a high density of leopard, like here in the Sabi Sands, you'll have a situation where the female territories are quite small. So they'll have territories of, let's say, 14,000 acres, maybe somewhere around there at the most. I mean, that would be an excessively big territory for our leopards in this area. Whereas if you go into parts of the Kalahari and into the desert areas, some of those leopards will have territories that are 120,000 acres, so massive, bigger than what the Sabi Sands is effectively. So some of them really have big territories, some of them smaller. It all depends on density. And so here the average size is normally between sort of 3,000 to 4,000 hectares for a female, so about 8,000 acres is what you can look at for females in this area. That's what they kind of roughly work out to be. The thing is at the moment is that Shadow and Cub, or Shadow and Tundi, both of them are vying for this territory that has been left. The void has been left by their mother. So their mother Kruger used to be the dominant female, was the dominant female here for 10 odd years, and so she's now left, and both of them born here know that this is an area that is great habitat, and so they're both now trying to fill that void, and there'll be a settling period, and we're still in it, so they're both trying to work out where each other wants to be, and you'll find a situation where they're going to overlap a little bit in some places, and eventually the boundary will become more defined. What's going to be interesting is, like I say, Tundi's reaction is going to be far more severe than Shadow's. Shadow's cub is not denning, it's able to move, she can take the cub wherever she goes, but Tundi's cub is in one place. It's still too small to be just taken anywhere it wants to be taken, and so you've got a situation where she's going to be very upset because she wants to try and keep that cub safe, and there's now pressure from another female. So I hope that this doesn't mean that Tundi backs off and takes that cub further to the east and maybe towards Torchwood. I really hope that she decides that this is where she's going to kind of set up and maybe just puts in a brave front and starts to vocalize and urinate and kind of do all of those things to keep Shadow at bay, rather than her moving the cub out and going somewhere else. Well, I hope that's the case, because I really don't want to see that little one moved off our area. It's going to be such a joy to watch it growing up that it would be sad to see her disappear. Right, back into the thickets we go. It seems as though they're going to follow Tingana. Tingana went west down this road, so it seems as though they're going to follow in his footsteps and also move westwards in this thicket. Now hopefully if they just continue to go on the southern side here, it's really not too bad. It's when they cross north over the little drainage line that it becomes a bit of a disaster in this area and hard to follow. But for now we're good. We've got a nice clear view. Ooh, Nikki, you're wondering if Tundi or Shadow is more aggressive. Depends on the day. Both of them can have a nice sort of aggressive streak to them when they need it, and when they feel like they need to defend themselves or their offspring, then both of them can be incredibly feisty. I've seen Shadow and Tundi behave very similar in terms of when they've got cubs. When they get to this age, both of them become very relaxed, like you can see this morning. Shadow's not worried about us at all, but when they're a little older, a little younger, then they both can be very aggressive. So I don't think that either one of them are aggressive cats either. Both of them are just doing what's natural, and that's defending their cubs, and they do that the best way that they know how, and often the best form of defense is a very strong offense. And so Karula, Tundi, Shadow, they've all got that nature they all have that nature to be able to protect their offspring. They'll do it at any cost, and if that means they've got to growl and hiss at things that they normally are very relaxed with, well then they'll do that. And so neither one is more aggressive than the other. I think they're both pretty much the same. Like I say, they both just try and protect their cubs the best of their abilities. Rosemary, yes, most definitely Shadow would share a kill with Tingana. They probably have many times before. The thing is about that is it's a one-way street. It's not like you and I going and trying to share a meal. It's a very different story. With them, when they just share a meal, it's completely one-sided, and Tingana will take that and pretty much feed on all of it by himself. So he's not going to have a situation where he's going to share very much. It's all about him when it happens, but Shadow would sit there and watch him feed, and if he then tries to go for water or he drops some things she can then feed off it, as well as the cubs. So you would have a situation, if there was a kill, that all three of them could theoretically stay there for quite some time. Now, I'm going to try and move because I'm blinding myself in the position that I'm in by staring into the sun the way that I am. So I don't think we're going to be able to keep up with Shadow too much longer if she crosses over. No, though she's being very nice to us. She's just come up. You're wondering, is it true that leopards can lift twice their body weight? Yes, they can. They can easily take twice their body weight up into a tree. I've even seen a male leopard take a fully grown female kudu, which is almost probably closer towards 2.5 times his body weight up into a tree. So they can do it, and they do it. It's an incredible sight to witness when a leopard takes a massive animal like that up into a tree. The sheer power that's in their chest and in their forearms is absolutely insane. So they are incredibly powerful animals, and the fact that they're able to do it regularly is what astounds me. Right, Fergus, careful, tuck. Don't tuck and roll. No, we've done tuck and roll this week. We did that tutorial already earlier this week. Now it's just tuck. That is my nickname, I think, in camp these days. Right, but with leopards at least it's a much slower affair, so even if I were to tuck and roll here, I think I'd be able to stop myself. Not like when you're trying to off-road with wild dogs and you're going a little quicker than you do with the leopard. So Shadow is just in front. She'll pop out right in front of us here. Girl, are you not going to stop this morning? You seem as though you're very busy. You seem as though you're going to keep tracking down Tingana, and hopefully they'll still be here this afternoon. It at least bodes well for an exciting afternoon to see how this all plays out and whether Tundi pitches up on the scene or if it's just going to be the Shadow and Cub show. Difficult to say. It's going to be very interesting. I'm pretty sure Scotty is going to be rearing to go. He was actually here with us for a brief little period, came and just had a little look at the three leopards together. I don't know if he's seen Shadow and the cub since he's been back. I know he's seen Shadow, but I don't know if he's seen the cub yet, so I think he was happy just to catch up with them. And also at the end of the day, we have one or two of our crew members that were off this morning, and so Scotty took them on tracking team, and so it's nice for them to see leopards, and to see a sighting like this is very special. So I'm glad that they got a chance to come in and have a little look quickly as well. Also, Scotty did fine work in finding a male lion, which has been completely eclipsed by these leopards. The leopards have stolen the show today. Are we going to fit through here? No, let's try. Well, we are now. If we weren't before, we are now. So she should be popping out in a relatively close to the road. So here she is. She's just on my right.